Okay. Stop watching porn! Man, that sounds familiar. Anyway, I'm going to touch on a quick little subject here. This is a strategy that I think a lot of people use. I used to use it when I was trying unsuccessfully to quit porn. And it's another one of those strategies that I dropped, as I began to actually improve and got to the point where I actually did quit forever last year. But this is one of those things that I hear other people doing, and it's just not, it ain't real, okay? Promising that this time is the last time, or that last time was the last time. Promising, that's it, I'm never going to do it again, okay? I get it. It's very well-intentioned, I believe. At least it was for me, and I'm sure it is for a lot of people. No, I'm sure it is absolutely well-intentioned. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And I get the idea behind it. For me, it was, let's see, I'm good at keeping promises, so if I promise I'll never watch porn again, then, hey, that must mean that I'll never watch porn again, so I'll try that. Or, it's emotional or something like that. You'll have just fallen back into that, and you'll be riled up. You're ready to counterattack. You're ready to start getting this under control because you hate that regret and you hate that feeling you have afterwards. The thing is, it doesn't work. At least I've never heard of it working. It hasn't worked. It never worked for me. I've seen other people try it and fail. It just doesn't work. From everything I've seen, it doesn't work. And here's why I believe that is. Because it doesn't really attack the root of the problem. Because it doesn't actually build discipline. It's not actually building your willpower. It's not building your resolve. It's words, and the words are supposed to be indicative of something else, but the thing is, there's not really a whole lot for them to indicate, so they're just really empty. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's making a promise that you haven't really put yourself into the actual mindset to keep. If you're in the mindset where you're not going to be watching porn anymore, you're not going to submit to temptation, you don't have to make a promise, okay? And here's the other thing. You make a promise to do something forever, and yeah, there are cases where that's appropriate. That's appropriate in marriage, that's appropriate in, I don't know, other kinds of oaths, things like that. But in this particular situation, when you're dealing with addiction or something like that, it doesn't really fit that well, because when it comes to things like that, the only thing that you can control is the present. The present is the only thing that you can directly control, and I mentioned this in another video. You have to take each moment, each day, each hour, each minute by itself and choose to do the right thing every time there's a choice to be made. You can't really make that decision in advance. You can start building up to that point, and you can reach a point where, yeah, you are never going to do it again. But reaching that point comes before the promise. Again, the promise is supposed to be indicative of something that's already there. Something that's already set in stone. The promise is just acknowledging that. When you, let's say marriage vows or something like that. By the way, I believe marriage is permanent. I'm very against divorce, so if this sounds weird to you, then that might be why. But when you make a vow like that, it's usually for the other person. You're not so much making a promise to yourself, you're making a promise to communicate a commitment that's already there. In other words, the promise itself is not the substance of the commitment. The substance of the commitment is already in place by the time the promise is made, and the promise is just an indication of that. And it's the same thing with porn. Making a promise is not going to cause you to have what it takes to quit porn. It's not going to cause you to make the right decision every time in the future. You have to already be in that mindset. You already have to have that commitment deep inside your mind, in your bones. I didn't mean that. What you're thinking, I didn't mean that, but it's kind of relevant. Anyway, that commitment already has to be there, and what you need to focus on is not making a promise or something like that. You need to focus on building the substance of that commitment, and that means training your willpower. It means choosing to focus on obedience to God, on putting His will first above your own, making His will the foundation and the motivator for your choices. And I've talked about this in other videos. If you want to go into detail on all that, check out my other videos. They're okay. Maybe they're great. I don't know. I think they're okay. But anyway, enough plugging for myself. I'll do that later. Build the substance first, okay? Promises are great, but the words alone are not the substance of the commitment. You have to build the substance first, and then if you want to make a promise later on, sure, do that. But make sure you have that substance. There's no substitute for that, alright? That is my little, I wouldn't call it a rant. That's my video. That's what I wanted to say. So, y'all have a blessed day. God bless you. Keep up the good fight. It is a good fight, and it is worth winning. And it's worth, fighting through. It's worth getting up every time you fall down. It's worth it. Believe me. And don't just take my word for it. Find out for yourself. All right? Have a wonderful day. I do these videos all the time, so if you like this, check out my other videos. I'm trying to do a bunch of them now, trying to really build a kind of a big repository of this stuff, my experience and whatnot, and check it out, okay? It's a better use of your time than sitting around jacking off to porn. So, take it easy, have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later.